Hello there boys and girls, Lucky here and welcome back to another CsGo video. So today I want to give you guys a couple of more tips and tricks in order to get better at Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And today I want to talk about how to get consistent with your aiming in CsGo. Because many people do ask me this all the time, basically every day almost. And they're telling me like one day they're able to hit everything and the next day they're not hitting anything at all. And they want to get more consistent with their aiming. And there are two major factors that do affect this. So I would say let's get right into it. The first one would be movement. I said this before, but movement really is the most important thing in CsGo because it really has just Counter-Strike in general, it really has a very defined movement system, and if you only played Call of Duty and Battlefield before, you really have to learn it in order to get better with it. Otherwise you will always stay inconsistent. Because many people, they will kind of download all the aim practice maps and they're able to hit the targets, they're able to beat the high scores, they will do the recoil maps and they will be able to learn the recoil. And the thing that you really have to learn is that there are two sides to Counter-Strike when it comes to aiming and movement, and of course that's moving and aiming, so the left and the right hand, because many people when they're doing the aiming or training maps, they will just stand there stationary and they will fire the targets and of course they will hit them, but as soon as they're going into a matchmaking game or into puck, they will not hit anything at all, because when you really want to have good aim, you want to have your movement down first, and I say this all the time, you don't want to have it down like 80% or 90%, you want to have it down 100%. 100% of the time, because just think about it in real life, how often do you forget how to move? It doesn't really happen all that often, does it? So you really want to make sure that you're really consistent with your movement, because as soon as you're inconsistent with your movement, your shots will be as well, because when you're still moving, when you're firing, your shots will go all over the place, which will result in you thinking that you're inconsistent with your aim, but in reality you're just kind of unbalanced with the skills you have with your left and your right hand, because many people are only focusing on the right hand and they're trying to get the one taps, blah blah blah, and they're not able to set themselves up properly in the first place to be accurate, because they haven't mastered the stutter stepping yet. And even though some people think they have mastered the stutter stepping, or some people are very good at stutter stepping, there's still one big major issue with that many people do not realize. If you're stutter stepping, you only want to move from left to right with A and D. You do not want to use W and S, because as soon as you're moving forwards and backwards, you also have to compensate for this. So let's say you're moving to the left, then you only have to hit right. But if you're moving to the left and to the front, you'll have to hit right and back at the same time. So this makes it a lot more complicated. So make sure whenever you're stutter stepping, you're not moving forwards or backwards. You just kind of want to cut the pie and circle around the corner and only use A and D to really get better with it. Another thing that people are often telling me about is that they're actually practicing their flick shots. And you can disagree with me all you want, but practicing your flick shots is the worst thing that you can actually do in order to get better and more consistent with your aim. Because if you really think about it, all a flick shot is just fast and accurate aiming. You do not have to practice that specifically. That doesn't make sense. You wanna... Because even if it would work out eventually that you would kind of practice and learn flick shots, all you would have done there is then just created a gap of being kind of accurate at a certain pace with your mouse and not with another one. But the thing that you really want to do is kind of build up from the bottom, so you want to start out slowly. And the thing that you always want to have to keep in mind, you always want to hit the target. You don't want to force yourself to be as fast as possible, to just miss all your targets and just be fast with it, but you want to be as fast as possible while still maintaining a 100% accuracy, because only then you will gradually work up your speed at which you're able to hit your target consistently, and also with 100% accuracy, which then in return will give you consistent aim. And at one point, after you've kind of trained and trained and trained, you will have very consistent flick shots as well, because then they're not flick shots, they're just consistent fast aiming, just snapping onto a target. And if you really think about it, that's what the pros do as well. They practice a lot. They build up their muscle memory, their aiming all from the bottom. And it's very important that you train for accuracy and just do it as fast as you can, and then slowly build it up from there. Because if you just kind of skip that and try to hit them as fast as possible, you're either just creating a gap that doesn't work, or you're just getting even more inconsistent. So these were the two main tips for getting consistent with your aiming. I hope you enjoyed the video, and lucky skill faker out. Oh, and before I forget, please check your emails, because I've chosen the winners of the giveaway, and 8 out of 10 people still haven't responded.